And with this man saying that this is a form of protest of being proud of who you are.
You can't beat that.
But our loved ones in the 60s, Louisiana, Texas, could not do what we're doing without having harm come their way.
What's good, y'all? It's the Demouchets REACT, and we're back with another video. Who we got today, C?
Today we're back with another American reaction.
Yes, yes.
Super excited about this video because it's Black History Month.
You know it.
If you're new to us and we're new to you, make sure you scroll down, hit that subscribe button, and turn on the post notification bell because we're on the road to 100K. And we cannot get there without you guys, all right? Join the family. Without further ado, let's get into the video.
Fill him up, fill him up. Feel like he gonna have a packed house.
Right. Hi, guys. Thank you so much for a very warm welcome. Well, my name is Don John, and I have little tolerance for racism. I've spent much of my working life identifying it, addressing it, and confronting it. You could say it's been my life's work. I intend to share with you why I think Black history matters, not just to me, but also to you.
Yep.
Yes, I know that Black Lives Matter has occupied the central ground in race politics in recent times, and it certainly has got everyone's attention. But it is an appreciation of our history that helps us to understand its relevance.
Yep.
I'm going to break this presentation up into three parts. Firstly, awareness, then discovery, and then delivery. Okay, Black, 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 and even more Black. How does that word make you feel? Does it already invoke?
It makes me feel proud.
It made me feel real good about myself.
Yes, I'm very, very proud.
Feel like a towel.
All right, and I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again, and I know last time I said it, people felt some type of way, but you already know I'm Sierra, and I'm unapologetically me. Okay? Being pro-Black does not make me anti-anything, but I'm proud of who I am.
Right, you could be proud of yourself without people feeling like they're neglected.
Yeah.
I think that's...
I'm privileged to be who I am.
I think when people begin to start to feel neglected, they have a self-centered awareness about themselves they need to digest or dissect. Let me use that word because it's personal to them when they hear a word Black, when they hear the word Black. So when you say I'm unapologetically me and I love who I am, my skin tone and this, that, and the third as a woman, they shouldn't feel no type of way. They should be applauding you because that reflection should hit and they should feel the same about themselves. So that's how it works.
You should feel proud to be who you are.
Facts.
Look, this is just a color. I'm Black on the inside. Like, no, seriously, this is just a color. That's it. Like, everything, the essence of who I am, I'm proud of that.
Emotions that you're a little unsure of. Some say the trouble really started when coloured people turned into Black people. So what does that tell us? I think it was Walter Benjamin who said, history is written by the victors. So what does that mean to a Black boy who was raised in a culture dominated by the myth of the Commonwealth? I went to a grammar school, didn't do me any harm, and studied Latin, Greek, ancient history, and the victories of the empire. So where was my Black history? Okay, picture this. A world where Black people are up to 37 times more likely to be stopped and searched than white people. A world where Black people are 3 times more likely to be arrested than white people. A world where black people are 44% more likely to be detained under the Mental Health Act than white people. A world where black people are 3 times more likely to be unemployed than white people. We seem to be somewhere between the mad and the bad, or perhaps both. Now, my father was one of those proud Africans where status and position was everything. And he believed religiously, yes, religiously, in education, education, and education. Can't believe I'm quoting Tony Blair, but what was I thinking of? School gave us a world where the pink bits on the map, on the world map, was the context that underpinned our understanding of that world. Africa was the dark continent where they all lived in mud huts and they traveled by swinging from tree to tree. And white Tarzan was the king of the jungle in black Africa.
And this is why on this channel we not only show, the traditional tribes and the people that's off grid,
right,
but we also show the houses. We love looking at the houses.
Love that.
We show the glamorous, lavish weddings. We show all of the modern things that we could relate to as well. Mm-hmm. And we show that because although we can see that they are more than mud houses and what we have been taught they are,
right,
other people who's in our region, other people who's not in our region, other people on other sides of the world don't know.
They're not up to speed.
They're not up to speed with Africa up to date.
Yeah, the luxury of it, the real Africa.
Right.
Christianity was a step towards our salvation. I always remember that iconic image of Stanley meeting Livingstone. Do you remember that picture? Like 2 great gods, a civilizing influence in this dark, dark world. I guess the context of my Sierra Leonean background should have given me a greater understanding, but the heroes we were reminded of were people like Sir Walter Raleigh and Francis Drake. You remember those guys? The English hero who coolly played bowls when the Spanish Armada was approaching, but casually said he had to finish the game. How very English. And it was only later that I learned that he was a pirate and a slave and well invested in the slave industry. I was shocked, and he certainly was not my kind of hero. Furthermore, the history we learned was the shame of slavery. Yep. And we were constantly reminded that our own black people assisted in the process of our historical enslavement and...
Yeah. And so imagine being a child in school and the first thing that you learn about people who you come from is that, they were taken and forced to work. Stripped of their identity, stripped of their independence, stripped of everything and just forced to work. That's like a psychological, just kill your thoughts of any optimism, any thoughts of success.
Right, true that, yeah.
Like, the first thing you are taught is that your people was in bondage and struggled. Go a little bit deeper. Let's talk about where I come from, the people, the cultures of where I come from. Like, I wish that was the inception of the history of our people.
Right.
But of course, yeah.
That would help a lot of people just have an awakening, especially at a young age. Mm-hmm. It wasn't taught to a way where we would need to be like, yeah, you guys was this and that and the third in the most brightest way that you could ever be. This was your history. This is your lifestyle. We was never taught that. We was always taught that, hey, you know what? You was your ancestors were slaves. Mm-hmm. What happened to them was bad. Mm-hmm. You came from a descendant of slavery, and that's your history. That's your journey. Now let's just forget about it.
Right, and that's why oftentimes, especially the younger generation, and not even just them. Let's just say, period.
Around the board.
That's why it's hard for some people to place a little bit of respect on them, on the people we descend from. it's in our first nature to say the slaves. It's not in our first nature to say enslaved people. That's why we had to teach ourselves to stop saying slaves. They were not
You have
slaves.
to relearn, unlearn
Before.
some things.
They are people. They were put to work.
Put to work.
They were put to slavery.
They didn't fill out an application for this.
So was this my black history? Well, this was the family plan. My older sister was to become a solicitor, and she did. My younger brother was to go to Oxford, and he did. And I was to become a doctor. We know what happened to that plan. However, hallelujah, I was saved, and I joined a place called Her Majesty's Treasury and ended up working in the Chancellor's office. And the Chancellor at that time was a guy called Dennis Healy. What an experience for a young black man. The only young black man in a sea of pinstripes and moral certitude, a world where those pink bits on the map were ever so important. And when I left the Treasury, I took that damn map with me. I've still got it in my room, actually, at home. One thing about the map was Great Britain was disproportionately larger than it really was, strange it may seem. And it actually was in the centre of the world. And that line from the glorious hymn, Rule Britannia, echoed in my head. Remember that one? Britons never, never, never shall be slaves. Always wondered what that was all about and started to suspect something was afoot. Strange times. However, it was the civil rights movement of the 60s and the 70s that woke me from my slumber, where I voraciously consumed literature from people like Alex Haley, Eldridge Cleaver, Bobby Seale, Frantz Fanon, Angela Davis. And as a young man, I absolutely loved it. I was awake, or so I thought. However, it was the arrival of a remarkable young man who doubled our numbers in the Treasury. There were 2 of us in there now. It's almost like a riot, isn't it? And focused that new state of awareness. His name was Linton Kwesi Johnson, and the history of his footprint is a matter of public record. Though at that time, the Kwesi bit had not been born. So what did we do? We wrote poetry, we went to bookshops, but more than anything else, we supported each other in that sea of what I call blinding whiteness. Linton left and went to Goldsmith, and I asked myself, what on earth was I doing there? My life had been enriched by this greater knowledge and awareness, and I also left and decided to go to the Caribbean for 6 months or so and discovered a world where black people had some say in their own destiny and were seemingly more connected to their black history mostly.
You know what? I feel that way.
Do you?
Now, I can't speak on the United Kingdom or anywhere in Europe.
Yeah.
But when it comes to Caribbeans, I feel that
As an overall, not just a designated location, y'all. Overall.
Yeah, overall.
Yeah.
I feel like they are more connected to
I do too.
their African ancestry
I do too.
than anywhere else in the diaspora.
You can see it from their walk, from what they eat. You know what I'm saying?
Their clothing,
like
everything.
Everything about them has a volume to it. It's not just a just because movement.
Yeah, and some of them know exactly where their people are from in Africa.
Come on now. We're talking right.
Yeah.
But, as they say, the first step towards change is awareness. And the knowledge of our black history was starting to make some kind of sense.
I just want to add the first step to change is awareness and also acknowledgement.
Yeah.
Because you can notice something and be aware of it and walk right past it. And a lot of people do that in today's life. But
A lot of times.
acknowledging it as well plays a big role too. Gotta acknowledge it.
Yeah. Because some people, they may deny it.
They'll see it, but they'll deny it. And I've heard people say it all the time that, you know what, yeah, there's slavery, but you guys are fine.
Yeah.
Don't worry about
Yeah.
it. You know what I'm saying?
It didn't bother you.
I'm aware of it,
did
but
not?
I'm just saying.
Like, really, did it not? Because, I mean, if it didn't, there wouldn't be systemic racism
Right.
in
That
the
still wouldn't be
systems
a
that
thing.
we have. again, we cannot speak for other places, but in the United States, there would not be systemic racism. There would not be the dismissal of African American studies.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to leave it at that.
Okay, discovery. We're getting close to what black history means to me. My work in race relations in Southampton was a logical next step in my desire to immerse myself in matters relating to my black culture. And this city of Southampton gave me the means to explore that heritage and history at a grassroots level, and in an environment where I felt that I could make a difference. Fertile ground. Southampton at that time was still confused about who these black people were, why they all lived in Derby Road, and those who know Southampton know exactly what I mean, and why the area they lived in was called the jungle. I do recall when I was making a film about black unemployment in the early 80s with a local ITV company, the editing room was labelled Coon's Cabin, and that was the way things were at that time. This was a time when there was a heightened level of consciousness, and black youth were flexing their newfound pride and were more sensitized to the experiences that their parents had endured stoically. However, these young people had no time for the stiff upper lip and just wanted to kick some ass. And they did, and I helped them. Bad person. Black pride and a sense of black history were the tools we deployed, and a deep desire to recognize and confront the injustices that were a way of life for black communities. This was becoming a crucial part of my black history. So why did these black people keep going on about black this and black that? And why was this assertion of who they were so disturbing for many? The assertion of that consciousness was certainly a threat, and black people became more organised partly through the support of race equality organisations and empathetic local people, and started to challenge the accepted norms in the major institutions like the local authorities, the police services, health and social services, and others. The political climate at that time nationally played its part in disavowing racist opinion, unlike the political situation we have in the here and now. There was a time, indeed, when black studies was an essential part of our cultural education in the black communities, and we clenched our fists and we wailed and protested and marched, and many of you, white people, marched with us, and this did make a difference.
Yep.
Perhaps the assertion of our real black history is our new form of protest.
Ooh.
Delivery.
Ooh. Ooh, our new form of protest. I just want that to marinate because that hit me.
It slipped through the crack. I know where he's going with it.
And I think about it, and I think, just being who we are on social media, we're very open-minded. And I just want to say right now, I'm just so thankful for the community that we are building on this channel.
Yeah, for real.
Y'all are more than a number to us. The fact that we don't have black or African American or Caribbean, whatever. We don't, that's not our only following.
Facts.
We actually get to know the people that we follow by the comments and our live streams every week. So we know that it's not just one race.
Facts. True.
The ability to have that,
it feels good.
It does feel good. It
feels good.
Because I feel like we're able to have these conversations in a safe environment
that we created together.
Facts,
yeah.
And we're helping people understand each other. And with this man saying that this is a form of protest of being proud of who you are.
You can't beat that.
And I don't want to say ancestors because I feel like sometimes when you say ancestors, it just seems like 100 years ago. But our loved ones in the 60s, Louisiana, Texas, could not do what we're doing without having harm come their way. So maybe this is a new form of protest, but a form of protest to enlighten, to educate, uplift, and motivate. That's the protest we're on. That was powerful.
The Black History Movement was formally celebrated in Southampton from 2005, even though there were random acknowledgements prior to that. However, the real confusion again was, who was it for? And who was allowed to celebrate it? Some white people felt that they should not intrude in this private grief. Some people of mixed race were unsure whether they should get involved, and would they be betraying the white side of their family? And some black people were embarrassed about us going on about this black stuff all the time. It just made things...
Oh my God. When people of influence gets on the TV and say, oh, I think we should do away with Black history. Wow.
Yeah, I don't understand that. I recently just watched a video of that. And I just don't understand the logic behind it. There has to be something bigger behind them that is pushing the narrative for them to get on national TV and try to erase history right before our eyes. It just don't make sense.
Yeah, I remember one time, not one time. Well, let's go on another topic, so I'm not going to go there. But I feel like it is important, especially in countries where blacks are the minority, to show the advancements, the accomplishments, and the historical, I can't speak today, historical figures who have helped in so many ways that we would not be in today if it was not for them and those, movements.
Yeah.
Like, that is important to look back, especially to teach our younger generations.
And that's what it's about.
It is. Like, it's needed. It's needed.
I forgot where this is at, but I'm gonna have to do my research and fact check when they're doing this. But they're allowing Black history teachings to be brought into the schools.
Well,
I think it's a college. No, it's a college as a term.
What you mean?
Like as a subject.
I've had that in college. So
why are they making it as if it's not?
Because
I'll have to put it back.
Although
up.
It's 2023, in some areas, integration has not been widely accepted.
Right. So I think this is the first time for this college to probably have it as a studies.
Yeah. A lot of times, okay, and I know this is the UK, but in the United States, there's some schools, although the integration of schools happened long ago. The last school to get integrated was in 2016. Did y'all know that? Crickets.
Bad for black people who'd quietly found a place for themselves by not making too much noise. Nonetheless, there were many black and white who welcomed this and have contributed to what we have now. In the first couple of years, Black History Month kicked off with, yes, a still band with white people, and of course a slavery exhibition. It seems more embarrassing now than it did at the time. However, it gradually coaxed white Southampton citizens into accepting the idea of loads of black people coming together in a large group without being policed and not singing and dancing. The main objectives of Black History Month were and still are to promote the knowledge of black history. You'd be surprised at what people don't know. In fact, many people still believe that Egypt is not in Africa. They really don't believe that. Second thing, to disseminate information on positive black contributions. Because you see, the knowledge of what black people have done must influence people's perceptions of what black people are capable of.
Definitely.
I mean, that alone is simply saying, just look at their hearts.
Yeah.
Regardless of their situations, their heart was there to contribute, you know what I'm saying? And they build, you know what I'm saying? It made a lot of differences for people to have what they have today.
Yeah,
Facts.
definitely.
Thirdly, to heighten the confidence and awareness of black people in their cultural heritage, an inevitable consequence. Now, the key thing that many failed to grasp initially was this was just not our history, but a history that belonged to all of us. And we in the South played a crucial part, and such information is available if you choose to look for it. So let us just look at relatively basic information that does not fall so easily into our laps. Black inventors, for starters. The three-way traffic light and the gas mask, invented by Garrett Morgan, a black man. The Three Musketeers, a book, a film, a play, Alexander Dumas, a black man.
Did not know that.
The blood bank that we depend on so much for our health, Charles Drew, a black man. The guitar, Robert Fleming Jr., a black man. The lawnmower, J.A. Burr, a black man, and many, many.
I feel like you said, you have to find this information. That's not going to be given to you. But if you're a black individual and you're an entrepreneur, you have to have your face in front of your business for people to know that you're building something or working a business.
Yeah.
But the moment you truly invent something that can create millions and change the world, it's like you got to go look for that information.
Yes, definitely. And I feel like it's important to just share like just all of the advancements, especially in today's time. And of course, y'all know we dibble dabble with the things we talk about. We, come to our personal experiences, and I know that this is not the United States that he's speaking to, but I'm in the United States, so I'm speaking to us, especially with the things that's going on, in the media today.
Mm-hmm.
We see that too often, way too often. Of course, we do see positive, black figures today. But because we have children, we have to show them the possibilities of what they can do. Especially when you're in countries where you are the minority. You have to show them the possibilities.
First example they're going to look at is their parents.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
More. I can go on and on about black inventors that people don't know anything about. Of course, there will be many who will seek to debunk all of these, much in the same way Napoleon's soldiers thought that if they smashed the noses from the Sphinx and early Egyptian statues, and we didn't notice, they could erase the African history of the Egyptian civilization and dwell academically on the possibility of alien intervention. Because, of course, black people could never have the technical expertise to construct the pyramids of Giza.
Oh, never.
Always reminds me of Muhammad Ali's classic answer to why, as a child, he always saw images of white angels and never black angels. And he suggests that they were obviously in the kitchen making the milk and honey, as they do.
Oh, man.
Nonetheless, black history does more than tick in the boxes of accomplishments. It provides us with a sense of who we are and therefore who we can be. Unfortunately, we still have an issue about our identity. And back in the day, if we were not white, we were black. And it was much simpler. Complexion was less relevant. Malcolm X being a classic example, light-skinned, but at that time, one of the blackest men on the planet. Yes, I concede that it is now fashionable to have several cultural identities, and people are quite rightly proud of all aspects of these identities. However, sometimes I wonder how far the black aspects of these many identities are relegated to the periphery of our consciousness. So where does that leave us? When our forebears came here, they came with a history that some of them were not even aware of. Many also brought with them a perception of themselves, and sometimes a twisted perception was a consequence of the Western history that was fed to local black people in the colonies, which systematically and purposefully denied their true heritage and identity. Sadly, some of this legacy has continued, in my view, to infect some black people's perceptions of themselves, and so it gets handed down further and further down the line. But what compounded this even further was Western society's capacity to weave in the narrative of racial superiority and to convert that into many aspects of the encounters between black and white peoples. The knowledge of black history will not completely eradicate the falsehood still in play, but it may be one small step in helping all of us in more fully appreciating the part that black people have played and are still playing in the development of the world as we know it. Yes, black history matters to you and to me. Thank you very much for listening.
Very good.
I like that closing though.
Yeah.
People need to show appreciation for what black people have done for the history of America, or his location.
Yeah.
Like you were saying earlier, right?
Yeah.
And I just think that, you know what I'm saying, to accept that people just need to, you know what I'm saying, like maybe just stop breathing in assumptions about an individual because they're black and think that they're this bad individual, and go off based off discernment and see what truly was meaningful for you before you can, you know, make a decision about who you rather speak to and not speak to and stuff like that.
Yeah. And I feel like, no, I'm not even gonna go there. I'm not gonna go there. I just feel like black history should matter to everybody.
It should. I believe so. Yeah.
Especially where we are. Because I feel like a lot of what we have, a lot of how the whole country was made would not have been without us.
Yeah, 100%.
Without us. I feel
without
like,
the application.
Yeah, black history is world history. I feel that way strongly. So we hope you guys enjoyed this video with us. It was very, very informative.
It really was.
Yeah, we have not learned a lot about, like, you know, we have not learned a lot about the UK culture or Europe. Well, some places, but I feel like we went down that way and then we didn't. But yeah. So let us know your thoughts. Drop some more like cultural type things of the UK. We'd love to share it. So like this video, subscribe, turn on the post notification bell. We have enabled our super thanks if you would like to support the channel that way, as well as our join feature to become a VIP member of the channel. Send in your reaction request through our description box below. We'll see you soon.
Peace.